Welcome back to the channel. I am so excited to share this design with you. It's one of my earlier designs I used to sell on Etsy, but I actually improved it and I made it bigger so that it could be a purse. And the reason why I made this now is, if you don't know, I am a Disney adult. I say it proudly. And my husband and I like to go to Disney World at least once a year. We often bring the kids, but this time we're just gonna go ourselves. And I'm going to actually dress up as, not dress up because you can't dress up in costumes, of course, but like I'm a Disney bound. And so I bought this really cute shirt that's yellow. And if you look over there, I'll put it right there. And I also bought these cute kind of like a blue pants, and so I'm going with that Snow White theme. And so I thought, well, you know what? I want to make a poison apple crossbody bag or purse to carry with me. And so that's what I did. And what I like about this is it is fully lined inside, no raw seams. And so you can see that it is black. And I chose black because the apple core, of course, like it's death. The apple is death. It has the cute little smile, the cute little eyes and the nose. And I love the strap that I made because it can get bigger. So like if I want to carry it as a crossbody, I can go like that. So there's a crossbody. Let me show you some more. So just go like that, and then it can go across my body. And then if I want more like a purse, I can go like this. And you can just go over my shoulder. I can go all the way up to about here, and then just like so. So super fun, super cute. So stay tuned, and I will show you how to make this design. And it is one of my favorites, absolutely. First, upload the design to your embroidery machine. Make sure you have tearaway stabilizers secured in an 8-inch by 12-inch hoop or larger. Then run the first stitch, and this will be your placement stitch. Next, grab your zipper and align it inside the stitch rectangle. Secure it in place with tape. Then run the next stitch. This will tack the zipper down. Just know that the zipper can be a little slippery, so make sure to hold it steady with both hands while securing it with the tack down stitch. I'm not going to give you any measurements for the fabric. Instead, I really encourage you to do the measure and then cut rule. And so what I mean by that is the first part of the bag we're going to attach with fabric is this top part right here, the top of the apple. And so what I do is I measure from this stitch line, the one we just tacked down with the zipper, to the top here of this apple. And for me, it comes to be about, approximately 2 3/4 inch. But then I would add another inch on top of that. So I would cut a minimum of, I would say 3 3/4 inches. Okay. Let me see how I cut here. I might have cut a little too low, but I think it's gonna work anyways. Yeah, it'll be fine. Maybe a little tight at the top. Okay, all right. So I have my 2 fabric pieces for this next stitch done. I have my outside stitch, which is this one, and I'm using this green, kind of like a poison looking green, for my exterior fabric for the apple. And I've also pressed some medium weight fusible interfacing on it to give the bag a little bit more structure. So what I'm going to do is find this stitch right here, and with my fabric wrong side facing up, I am going to basically put it past this zipper line, just like so. And then I'm going to tape it down. The front doesn't have to be super taped because I will hold it in place. So I'm just going to go like this. Just like so. Okay. I may put one little one in the middle. And I'll take that off while it's going. Okay. And then I need to flip my hoop over. Again, wrong side facing up. If you have a wrong side, I do not. And I'm just going to find this zipper line right here. I move it to the zipper line. And tape it in place. This one you'll want to tape down pretty well. So I'm gonna go find the rest of my tape, and I'm actually gonna add more tape up here carefully and down here. See, now I carefully taped it, and I'm just gonna do one more flip. And you see how this one moved? Or it didn't move, sorry, it just flipped over. I gotta make sure that it's this way when I, in fact, I'll just do another one right here so it doesn't flip again. Okay. So yeah, push it down, make sure the wrong side's facing up, and it's gonna do one stitch right here where we stitched that previous one for the zipper, the tack down for the zipper. I'm gonna take it to the machine. And so you can see that it did the tack down stitch right here. Now we gotta remove this tape. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip it over like that. So now the right side is facing up, and give it a good finger press. And then tack that down with tape, or tape it down. I'm just gonna go like this. I will also hold it with my fingers. There we go. And then flip it over around the back of the hoop. Take the tape off again. Hi, honey. Take a sleep. Yeah. All right. So then, after you take the tape off on this side, I actually did a pretty good job there. Looks perfect. Oh, this one's the hardest one to get off. There we go. Okay. All right. So then you flip this one over, and it was perfect. Okay, so this one you do have to tape down really well so that it doesn't get caught underneath your machine. So I can't remember if I told you already, but the black is gonna be my liner. So this is the inside. I chose black because I was like, the apple is poison. And so I'm just trying to keep with the motif of its death. All right, I would say that's probably good. Okay, so I'm gonna take it to the machine. And I will hold this front one down, just like so, and it's gonna do the top stitch of the apple. It just did the tack down stitch, so like before, we have to take off this tape. And because this side is so long, I have to be careful that I don't get this, well, actually it's pretty perfect because it stays tacked down like that. But I definitely don't want to get this down there, okay? Because I don't want it to get underneath my future stitches. All right, so here's this one. This is the hardest one. I would actually maybe, because I've done this before, where I've been cutting and then I accidentally got this underneath my machine and then it's stitched like that. I might actually keep a little bit of extra tape in this corner and on the side just to keep it down, like so. That way it doesn't come down. All right, so the top part is done. It is now time to do this bottom half. This is the top of my hoop. For right now, I'm actually gonna turn it around so that the top is facing the bottom. And I have it on the back. So grab your other half of your black lining piece and find out where the zipper is. And you can see it pretty good if you have a pretty, I'm using a green zipper and you can see it through the interfacing. Wrong side facing up. Mine, of course, is the same on both sides, so it really doesn't matter, but I think I like this side better. And then align it to the bottom of the zipper. So it goes past the zipper just a little bit. And tape it down. Okay, now carefully flip it over. Okay, top is at the bottom. Wrong side facing up. I'm actually gonna give a little trim here. One moment. Now that I turned it up a little bit, it'll be a little easier. Okay, so take it to just slightly past the zipper and secure your tape. And take it to your machine, and it's going to do one line stitch right here to tack it down. I'm at my machine because I want to show you real quick what it should look like. So do you see how the bottom liner is hanging past the hoop, and my top line exterior fabric is also hanging past the hoop, and we want to make sure that this does not get stitched underneath it. So like the only part that's getting stitched is the part where I taped it down. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I do when I stitch it. Leave it in your machine and take off the tape pieces on just the top part, okay? So we're gonna leave the bottom alone. And then carefully fold just the top liner down so it goes underneath your needle, just like so. Give it a good finger press. And make sure that this liner is still on the side, just like so, okay? So we do not want this to get caught under here. And then run the next stitch, and this is a tack down stitch, and it's gonna finish the second half of the apple, the bottom part of the apple, for just the exterior piece. Leave your hoop in the machine, and we're gonna start doing the appliques, and it follows just the standard procedure of the appliques, where it'll do the placement stitch, you'll cut out your fabric choice and place it over, and I'll do a tack down stitch, and then it'll do all of the 4 appliques. So there's the 2 eyes, the nose, and the mouth down at the bottom, okay? After it tacks on all the applique pieces, all 5, what's gonna happen is it'll do a satin stitch. And I'm choosing to do green with my satin stitch. So I'm not really doing a lot of thread changes with this one. So I'm gonna put it on speed mode and show you how to do the appliques. Because this applique is on the edge of the bag right here, the only parts that you're gonna trim around are the ones that are in the lines that are inside the bag. So like this swoopy line right here. So leave all this excess fabric on the outside of the bag, because that will make it easier for you. Like it won't fray. The next stitch will be the satin stitch that will go around all the applique pieces. And what I would make sure before you do that, of course, is make sure that this black or your lining piece is still right here, because you do not want to stitch any of that. And I would also encourage you to use a lint roller. I can't find mine. But I would get rid of all the little small pieces, okay? So, all right, I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you a little bit of the satin stitches, but not too much of it, because you know what that was like. the details stitched out so beautifully. I absolutely just love it. All right, so now let's flip the hoop over, and hopefully none of your liner got stuck in any of the stitches. I'll take off all this tape. Just for this top liner piece right here, just like so. I'm gonna want to leave this one down still. This one, I'm gonna put another piece of tape on just so that it doesn't get stuck underneath it. Because like I said, I've done that before. It is not fun. So this liner will go right here. So the right side now should be facing up. Of course, mine is the same color. All right, so that looks good. And put some tape around this piece right here so that it doesn't shift when you put it in your hoop, or excuse me, in your machine. Just like so. I'll do one more. Okay, and then flip it over, give it a good press, and it's gonna stitch right here to tack down that back lining piece. At this point, it is extremely important that you open up the zipper. If you don't do that, you will not be able to turn the bag inside out, and then your bag would be ruined. Okay, and now my next tack down stitch is gonna go right about right here. I'm gonna just hold it in place a little bit, and it'll just go like this, and it's gonna be show me where I should place my straps for my D-rings. I'm going to use polyester webbing for my straps, and so I'm just trying to like get this green color that is kind of like toxic green looking. And here is a D-ring, and all I got to do is slip it through just like so, and then put the raw edges together just like that. And then I'm going to slip it over where it did that placement stitch just like so, and I'm going to run the next stitch, which will tack it down. Let me show you how to do that one more time. So here is my webbing. I think it's about 2 inches is what I cut. You can of course cut more if you want. And then I'm going to slide it through, raw edges together, and make sure the raw edges are on the outside of the design, because eventually you will snip those, okay? We want to keep the actual D-ring inside the design. And before I do that, I need to do my placement stitch so it shows me where to place it. At this point, we only have 2 more stitches on the embroidery machine to do. This first one is going to be the attaching the exterior, back exterior fabric. And so I have just a green one right here. And what I'm gonna do is, of course, this also has interfacing on it as well to give the bag more structure. And what I'm gonna do is just make sure that I'm covering all of the stitches. So again, measure and then cut. That looks pretty good. And that, oh, you know what, I'll just, yeah, actually that looks pretty good. Make sure you, actually I'm gonna zoom up a little bit more, just like that. That looks really good. And you could hold this in place, or you can also use some tape to secure it in place. All right, I'm gonna take it to the machine, and it's gonna do a full apple stitch right around the bag. Again, make sure that it is the wrong side facing up. It did its stitch, as you can see, it made the apple. All right, so now we're gonna turn it over. And what we're gonna do is take our last fabric piece, our lining piece, the large one. So you're gonna measure the entire, from here down to here. So basically a perfect rectangle. Okay, and you're gonna put it right sides facing each other, wrong sides facing up. So mine, of course, does not have a wrong side, but imagine this is the wrong side facing up. And we are going to actually secure this pretty well because we do not want this one to shift. So I will finish taping this, but I do want to talk about what it's going to do. I can't remember what side it is, but on one side, it's going to start on one of the sides and it's going to go to like this. It's a single stitch. And then I'll stop and leave a gap here. That gap is important because that's how we're going to turn it into the bag inside out. And then it's going to do a bean stitch right back. All right, so I'm going to finish taping this down securely, and then I'm going to do the final stitch on in my machine. We are all done with the embroidery machine, so now we're going to take the design out of the hoop. And you can see that there is a gap right there that is super important for when we turn the bag inside out. Okay. All right, so grab some sharp scissors, and what we're gonna do is cut around the design. And before we do that though, I'm actually going to remove some of this stabilizer because we do not need all this stabilizer. We need to have extra fabric down here. And so what I'm gonna do is with just this black, these two black pieces right here, the two liner pieces, I'm gonna grab them with my fingers and I'm just gonna cut a diagonal so that we have extra fabric to fold in at the end. And we don't need to have that much. Like, okay, so for example, that's kind of a lot. So I might just wrap it around a little bit, just like so. And then, because we're on a curve, I'm gonna grab them again here and then go cut on a curve again. Okay, it's important that I have this extra about an inch down here to turn it inside out, okay? But now, for the rest of the bag, I am going to cut it about 1/8 inch, maybe one 1/4 inch around the design. Okay. All right, so that looks good. All right, so I'm just gonna very carefully do this at this point, okay? You can see I have this extra flap right here. Do not need it, so I'm gonna fold it over just like so. So I need the black, of course, so do not cut the black pieces, the lining pieces, but the exterior fabric pieces, I do not need to have that. So I'm just gonna hold and cut around it. We're now gonna turn the design inside out doing it through this flap right here, okay? I suggest getting like maybe a turning tool to help you get it through. My hand is kind of small, so I can get my hand through that gap, but if you have a little larger hand, it might be a little harder. Grab a sharp little scissors, and basically we gotta get rid of this right here. Just tear away this tearaway stabilizer. Grab some fabric glue and some clips and go to this gaping hole, and what we're gonna do is fold the fabric pieces inside, just like so. And then as best as we can on a curve, following this curve right here, we're gonna put some fabric glue in it and then clip it shut. I'm actually gonna do some clips first to get my shape that I want. All right, so do little increments. After the glue is dry, I'm gonna remove the clips. And I'm also gonna make sure that I got it closed pretty tight. So now, yep, it looks pretty good. All right, so then the final step is just to turn the bag inside out through the zipper. let's make the strap for my bag. I have my buckle right here, and this is the wrong side, so it has like some grooves. I want to have the right side facing up. I also have my polyester webbing, and I cut 65 inches, and I also burnt the edges with a lighter. And what I'm going to do is just thread it through. So from the bottom to the top, just like so. I'm going to fold this just like so, and I'm going to take it to my machine. So I'm folding it about that much, and I'm going to do a box stitch around right here. Find your wrong side of what you just sewed, and the wrong side is where you see that raw edge. So this is the right side, this is the wrong side, and what you're gonna do is just keep this, the raw side or wrong side, facing up, and you're gonna find the other edge of your strap. And so you don't want it to get crooked, you don't want to get turned upside down, okay? Then grab your swivel hook, I'm using this one, and have it facing down and slide it through. And you can see mine is not perfect. It is, it's gonna be a little squished, but that's okay. This is what it should look like. So wrong side up, and then of course you can't see the hook because the wrong side is up. And you're gonna find, you don't wanna get anything twisted, so you're gonna go to find that other side, just like so. And then you're gonna grab this piece and you're gonna go under and then over, just like so. And it should all be, I'm gonna make sure, yep, that is how it should be. Perfect. All right, so to give myself a little bit of room, I'm actually gonna move this down a little bit, just like so. And then I'm gonna grab my last lobster hook right here, and I'm gonna have the lobster clasp part facing up. And as you can see, I have this right side facing up as well. So I'll go like this. And I don't wanna move it too far, but I'm gonna fold it under like so. And then just like before, I'm going to do a little square stitch right here. Oops, let me show you a little, like right here. So that's I am all done making the strap. So now what I'm gonna do is just attach it to my purse. All right, and that's what it looks like. And if you want, you can of course make it longer so you can have it as more of like a shoulder bag. Okay, or like a crossbody, I should say. I'm sorry, I meant crossbody, just like so. Okay, see how bit long it's getting? And then if you want it more like a purse, just go back up like this. And then that's more of a shoulder bag, just like so. Isn't that adorable? I am so excited to use this at Disneyland, and I'm so excited to be doing Snow White kind of bounding outfit. And so I think it is just going to be so adorable. And the nice thing is it's big enough, so like it can fit your phone in it. So you look at it. So here's the black inside the dark heart of it, and yeah, I can fit my phone in there. And I'm glad I went with this this kind of strap because it's thicker and stronger, and so it will not be super flimsy. So love it. It's so fun and so easy to do. Thanks for watching. This design is free on my Patreon. Check the link below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more creative fun.